Welcome to Wine and Real Estate, the podcast where we drink wine, we have fun, and we learn about real estate investing. Real estate investing is so much more than just buying buildings. It's about building relationships, building your dreams, building your dream lifestyle, customizing your life. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? It's much more than money. It's more than getting rich. It's a different type of wealth. It's the wealth of time, the wealth of freedom. And now let's get to the wine and the real estate. Let's start this episode with some financing tips from our go-to mortgage broker, Streetwise Mortgages. Over to you, Dahlia.
Hi, I'm Dahlia, founder of Streetwise Mortgages, and in the next series of episodes, starting with today's, I will go over how financing for residential properties, which are 1 to 4 units, is different from financing for multifamily properties, which are 5 plus units. The first difference is how the lenders approve the mortgage. For 1 to 4 units, the lenders will qualify you for the mortgage based primarily on your personal income and personal debts. They will also take into consideration a percentage of the rental income for any rentals you hold. This will range from 50% to 100% of the rents depending on the lender. For multifamily properties, the lenders will assess the property's income and expenses, which is referred to as the net operating income. This will help determine how much debt the property can carry. Your personal income is secondary, and with some lenders, it's completely irrelevant, and this is how some full-time investors qualify to scale up into multifamily assets with zero income. The second difference is lending ratios. All residential lenders, as we know, have predefined parameters in regards to how much debt you can service based on your personal income and any rental income. Those are called the debt coverage ratio, GDS, and total debt coverage ratio, TDS. So, if your GDS and TDS do not fit the lender's guidelines, then the lender will either cut down the mortgage amount you're applying for or decline the deal altogether, and you'll have to go to a different lender. In multifamily financing, lenders also have predefined parameters, but they are mainly around how much debt the property, not you, can carry. Those are referred to as the debt coverage servicing ratios, or DCR. The maximum mortgage the property qualifies for cannot exceed the DCR guideline. The third difference is down payment. With residential properties, the minimum down payment is 20% if you qualify with the lender. With multifamily properties, the minimum with traditional lenders is 25 down, and it's 15 down with CMHC. Having said that, down payment is not standard across the board. If the property cannot qualify for a 75% of its value in a mortgage with a traditional lender or 85% of the value in a mortgage with CMHC based on the DCR, then the lender will cut down the loan amount, and therefore a larger down payment would be required. Also, the 15% down with CMHC is based on their value versus the actual appraisal. So sometimes they may appraise a property below what the appraisal report says. So just keep that in mind. The last difference is net worth. With multifamily financing, lenders are more particular about your personal net worth compared to residential properties. The rule of thumb is that they look for 25% of the mortgage amount you are applying for in net worth, which include equity in other properties, cash, or investments, or a combination of all of the above. In the following episodes, I will cover more differences such as amortization, financing cost, and the approval timelines. So tune in. If you are looking to get into multifamily properties and are looking for guidance, or if you're currently investing in multifamily and are looking for sophisticated financing strategies to scale, such as funding for renovations or higher loan to values on buildings, Our team at Streetwise Mortgages would be happy to assist you. To discuss a deal or book a planning session, email us at info@streetwisemortgages.com. Cheers to your success.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wine and Real Estate. I actually don't have a glass of wine, so this is a bit unusual. Maybe I'll ask my wife, could you grab me a glass of wine, dear? So today we have an awesome guest, Sam, joining us from beautiful Florida. And I love his story. So I've been following Sam for a while, about a year and a half. So I'm like a cyber stalker. I'm sorry, I guess I admit it. But why
I
don't
like
you
the
introduce
attention.
yourself? Yeah, you like attention? Good. There you go.
Yeah. So my name's Sam, and I love attention, and yeah, that's about it. But for the purpose of the podcast, I'm also a real estate investor, and originally from Canada. I've never actually invested in Canada. I've only invested internationally. So right now, I'm in one of our Airbnbs in Florida, and unlike a lot of real estate investors who I know, they're very super passionate about real estate investing. I honestly did not have the slightest little bit of interest in it until I started like figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. And I realized owning a portfolio of some really cool properties in my favorite cities that I wanted to visit just seemed so cool. And then knowing a little bit about real estate and paying some Airbnb hosts a lot of money to stay in their properties, I realized, hey, like maybe I should be the Airbnb host, and maybe the way I can have this international real estate portfolios by becoming the host and learning a little bit about it. So if you ever ask me to calculate a real estate deal for you, I'm not your guy. But if you're asking me, what's a crazy idea in real estate that could be a lot of fun, I'm definitely your guy.
Very cool. I love it. I like this. So usually it's like a lot of people are very analytical. It's all about numbers. And yes, there is a place for that, but also fun and like funding your lifestyle as well. So I see there you're a real estate investor now, but also music producer. So that's kind
Right.
of a tough business, and real estate can support that. And that's the part I like. I'm the creative type. My shirt here says create. Oh, you can't see it there. So I actually come from the interior design background, so I always enjoyed renovating, things like that. But especially the design part, like picking finishes and things, doesn't pay very well unless you're like an HGTV superstar, which I'm not. So if you get real estate to pay for your passions and wine, so I love wine now, and it's not a cheap hobby. So real estate pays for that, and you get to do what you enjoy. So Sam, now you only invest internationally. Do you invest outside of the US or only in the US, or what's the story there?
Yeah, I wish I had this picture on my phone. So, go back in time about 12 months ago. I was actually sitting at our Airbnb in Mexico, not one that I own, but I was thinking of buying it at the time because it was for sale.
Yeah.
And I had this whiteboard, and I drew on this sketch there, like what we could turn this property into, and we're thinking a retreat center. So we love hosting events. My girlfriend, she's an investor herself. She buys businesses primarily, and she hosts her own investing event. So we're, every time we would host that in a city in the U.S., it'd be like, $6,000 to $10,000 for a 4-day rental or something like that. It's expensive. So we're like, well, we should do it at our house. Should be a place where we can have all our friends over. There should be a stage over a pool, like all these crazy ideas. Wrote it on this whiteboard, and now I'm basically in that property. We sketched out. There's no stage over the pool. Don't know how we're gonna live with that, but we got a great house. It's a little messy, but as you can see, we got a property that's great for events. It came with like this stage lighting and all that stuff. Already good to go. Speakers like I don't know how to point on the camera, but in the walls, perfect events, perfect properties for events. So no, I don't. Right now, I'm only invested in the U.S., but this whole thing started with me looking for a property in Mexico because I loved it so much. And just with everything going on in the world, I felt really inspired just to kind of go against everything we were seeing and focus on doing things for the sole intention. I think they're spark a lot of joy and they're really fun to do.
No,
So
it's very smart because it's been tough for a lot of people emotionally, very negative. A lot of people lost their jobs and things. So why not focus on something positive and what you can control? So I love that. And what a great idea. Instead of spending 60K each time in someone else's property, why not invest it in yours? So that's awesome.
yeah, that was kind of the idea behind it. And now this we stay in this Airbnb while we need like a home base, but typically we're renting it out for at least 1 week a month. And this place blew our expectations away. We're getting about $1,000 profit a night, which is quite a bit. Definitely
Yeah.
don't think I would be able to pull that off back in Canada. And just a week rented on Airbnb and the mortgage is paid for, uh, and make a little bit of profit too. So I think
Very
once
cool.
we're looking to go into Europe, because I feel like it'd be fantastic. And I know you would agree with me on this one. Getting a property in like Portugal or Spain would be awesome. And I really want to get somewhere in Europe, possibly this year. But yeah, once we rent this like on a full out monthly basis and we're not here, really excited to see just how much profit we can pull in.
That's amazing. And yeah, Portugal, I heard, has some great terms. You can borrow at 1% interest for mortgages and great loan to value. So can we talk
Mhm.
about the house you're staying in? How did you structure your deal? Like, is your girlfriend American, or how did you get a loan on that?
Yeah, so we're actually, I don't know how much details I should go into, but I'll tell you what I did.
You can stay
So
kind of high level. That's okay too.
yeah, because I feel like if I get into the weeds, I'm going to be start saying some stuff that's just not wrong
No
or
problem.
correct. So uh, we came up with the idea. Like I said, in Mexico, we had an idea of what we're looking for, and then as we kind of got into it, we realized like, you know what, my girlfriend, she does a lot of business in the States and needs to fly, a couple times a month around the States. So we're like, is the Cancun airport really going to be that feasible to make this happen? Maybe this should be property, maybe number 3, once we get
Yeah.
a solid home base. So my girlfriend's American, and we set out on the journey to buy a property. Now we didn't buy this property yet. We were able to do a 1-year rent to own, and
Okay.
basically, we were going to close on it. Then I saw it was on the market for 100 days, which in South Florida, that's like 1,000 years.
That's very long. Yeah, I'm trying to buy right now and it's tough.
Right. So it honestly was like the third property we looked at, and we ended up looking at so many more. But I was like, we want events. That place already has like all the stuff set up for it. I'm sure we'll have like some renos we need to do. And sure enough, there was. But I was like, yeah, let's just talk to him. And once we got talking to him, I was like, would you guys be open to like a rent to own, just kind of out of curiosity? And they said, yeah, we could do one for 1 year. So
Wow.
that's what we did. So basically, what I know is we're going to be basically purchasing it for the same price. Um, a little bit of rent involved in that, but it's all getting paid for Airbnb. It really just
Yeah.
gave us. We really did it because we knew we wouldn't be able to see the property in order to get it done. So we're like, we're already spending so much on Airbnb, basically this amount. So why not just commit to this? And if it fails, like we're pretty much spending that anyways. And I don't think
That's it.
anyone's gonna complain about being in South Florida.
No, exactly. So maybe a little bit more about how, as a Canadian, you're able to spend that much time in Florida. Do you have some sort of business visa, or if you don't mind sharing those details? Because I know a lot of investors are like, yeah, this is great, let's go there. But there are implications as well beyond, I think, 6 months. You need some special visas to stay. So can you tell us
Yeah.
more about it?
Yeah. So I'm definitely not a lawyer. But what I could tell you is, as a Canadian, you get 6 months to travel in the U.S. So right now, I'm not living in the U.S. as much as I would love to. I'm traveling, and that's why at the start of this year, I was in Mexico. Now near the end of this year, I'm in the U.S. You get 6 months in both countries.
Okay.
Now you can't go and get a job and work a job, but you can buy real estate in the States, and I have a business that operates in Canada. So for me, I'm lucky. I don't need to go into an office to collect a paycheck. So I'm a little bit more. It's a little bit easier for me to do the traveling. Now, long term, like I said, my girlfriend is American, and a lot of people are saying, well, you should just get married. But
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how awkward of a situation that actually is once you're in it. Because no, like the least romantic thing you could ever do is propose to somebody and be like, "You're gonna get me that visa, sweetheart." Like
That's it.
it's not it's not the smoothest thing in the
Nope.
world to do. Probably asking for some trouble. So what we're working on right now, my girlfriend, she buys businesses all the time, and you can actually buy a business in the States to get what's called an E2 visa.
Yes.
Now, definitely work with a lawyer to figure out what business that is. But generally, you'll see a lot of people from other countries buy businesses like coffee shops, and then you got to invest. I think around it's like 75K minimum-ish. Really depends, but they do that, and they get a E2 visa into the States. So she actually talks to a lot of people who she's like, oh, why are you selling this business? And they're like, we only got it for the E2. We actually hate coffee.
Oh no, I think you're looking into a laundromat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, laundromat. I stopped saying that because the last thing I want is everyone to go steal the laundromats.
That's
But
right.
if you do though, it's fair game. But yeah, we kind of seen like I don't know if you guys noticed, like investing is becoming a more popular topic on social media.
Oh
A lot of
yeah.
people are like calculating the profits of like coffee shops and laundromats. And now what we're seeing on just like in the in the industry is like these businesses are selling for a lot more nowadays. So
Yeah, it's causing appreciation, and it's become a commodity that you kind of sell your business for visas. So, wow, that's
yeah,
a funny twist on things. I was not expecting that one. But you need an
yeah,
active business to get that visa. You can't have just real estate because that's a passive business.
yeah. It's hard to do with real estate. So like some context, when we set up our real estate corporation in the States and started buying these vacation rentals, with that, I thought that would actually work. Because it made sense. We're putting a significant investment into the States. But you're right, it is considered passive.
Even though
And
it's not, as you know,
even,
a lot of
even
work.
no, exactly. But there is a way to do it for real estate. It's a lot harder. And
Mhm.
from what I understand, you basically have to have like a pretty outstanding property management business. And now I know there would be ways to like structure it, but for me, it's like a big goal of mine is to travel freely around the world.
That's it.
And I don't really want to put a plan in place that might work. So for me, I just straight up asked my lawyer, I'm like, what's like the criteria that all your clients have that every one of them been like approved for the C2 visa, and it was like a cakewalk. So I just asked him what that was, and if anyone's listening to this wants to chat with my lawyer instead of me, be happy to send you his information. He's what I like about him is I did some shopping around, and a lot of people had um, just a very complicated solution to solve my problem, and he had a very
Yeah.
simple solution. So for me, whenever I see something that seems a little bit more complicated than it has to be, someone's it almost feels like it's part of like a sales process, and then
Yeah.
sure enough, like it's twice as much than a legit immigration lawyer, and it's like, this doesn't make sense. And it seemed like a lot more work too, which I didn't understand. So I'd be happy to refer him. And I actually started a community for international investors to just give people my contacts, because I've been
cool.
burned in the past. But it just feels like a lot of people, they don't do multiple calls to do any fact checking. They just kind of like find somebody, and as Canadians, Canadians, we're very trusting people, and unfortunately might get you into some trouble or just overpaying on some stuff. But that was in no way to like talk bad about people. I just want people to be aware that if you're looking to do this, don't take one person's word for it. Don't even take my word for it.
Yeah, do your due diligence. I agree with you. As a Canadian investing internationally, entering the US market or other markets, it kind of feels like I'm the country boy entering a big city, and then you have to be, I don't know, even from Toronto, like things are very different. There's a lot more sharks out there because it's a bigger population. If you think about it, the US, I think, is about 10 times the population of Canada, something like that. So that makes a big difference. And the laws are different as well. It varies a lot depending on the state. But I heard some interesting things, Sam. You're also doing some kind of turnkey investments with a partner, which might interest some of my listeners. There's some great investment opportunities. I get asked all the time, where should I invest in the US? So I think you have some great solutions there. If you could share with us.
Yeah. So luckily for me, I kind of knew my role as an investor. I never wanted to be, the Grant Cardano investing. But I knew like I kind of wanted to play within the same game. So I found a guy, his name's Mike Wolf, one of the nicest human beings I ever met. And he has over 30 years of real estate investing experience. So
Wow.
yeah, he's a Canadian. He's from Calgary too. Spent first 15 years investing in Canada. Then he started attending some open houses down in the States and realized just how much better the returns can be down here, and how much more freedom and control he can have in certain markets for his portfolio. And I guess really the other big piece here too is just having enough profit to be able to hire help, so he doesn't have to manage everything. And Mike, he's a very successful investor, and he's had a very successful turnkey real estate program in Atlanta. But now, with all the demand going on in South Florida, so lots of attention down in the South Florida market.
Yes.
Mike and I, we've been kind of talking, just like, what if we started a turnkey program down in South Florida? And we're looking to launch that with 10 people who have around $1 million of capital to invest. So we're going to launch the program with them, and it's going to be like the closest thing to having Mike, build you a portfolio, which is really cool. And I've never really seen anything like this. And it got me really excited because it just seemed like one of those no-brainer offers. So moral of the story, South Florida, Mike and I, we're going to be looking into how we can supply some turnkey vacation rentals. We find some long-term rentals, we'll give that a shot, but we primarily should have some turnkey vacation rentals for some people very soon here.
I love it, because a lot of people, before we came on air, you were telling me like there's a lot of professionals, doctors, dentists, lawyers even, and others that have money, they have credit, but they don't have time. So why not delegate that to those that have the time and know where the deals are? And that's a great strategy. I get asked about joint venture projects all the time from professionals that are very busy. And again, they have that money, they're looking for a turnkey project. So that's awesome. Do you talk about that in your international investment community as well? Or what's the strategy there to find out more?
Yeah, so really the strategy is, I'm a nice guy, so just reach out to me, and I'm big on building relationships first. So you mentioned my community. It's called the International Investors Community. And yeah, we'll talk about it there. But since I just launched it, the way I do business is by building relationships and having a mutual, I know you, I trust you, and I like you, and I want you to replicate that too before we really, talk business. So, for example, I had someone ask me, "Hey, can I post my U.S. real estate deals in there?" I'm like, uh, I want you to. I want this to be a group where people can find great opportunities, possibly, but I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be like just another marketing platform for
No,
investors,
that's it. Not
right?
a garage sale of real estate.
It's and the reason for that is like that's I don't think that's a bad thing. I've done lots of marketing in the past, and um, you know I know how it goes. But our catchphrase for this community, I think it says a lot, and I'm really excited about this. I'm just pulling it up because I just launched this last week, guys. Cut me a break here, but I'm calling it the most fun place to find hot deals.
Perfect. I love that. That's my driving theme is fun. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
drinking wine on my real estate podcast. It's got to be fun. And yes, of course, it's a business. It's got to make business sense. But you touched on a really important point here. Real estate investing is all about relationships. So it's who you know and who knows of you and building that trust and also vetting people. So what you said is very important. You want to get to know the people before you refer them and say, hey, yeah, look into these deals, and then they're crooks, and now your name is there, and that's not a good thing. So I really
Yeah.
agree with you.
Everyone's in like such a rush today, but when it comes down to it, and I'm like looking at the stuff that I really want to do this year and the timelines, like I know I'm already like moving pretty quickly for myself. So for this community, I do want to take things just a little bit step back, do it the right way, have a community there that we actually have fun, and if we do deals together, then great. But we need to become allies first.
Yeah, that's it. Becoming allies is huge. As
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, some people reach out to me to do joint ventures. I tell them, no, we need to get to know each other first and see if we're aligned. Are we allies? Do we agree on multiple levels? Like, you can't just go and ask, you have $1 million to invest with me. That's, first of all, it's illegal because you don't know the people. There's what is it called? The market authorities, and there's different laws around it. And also, do you want to do business with this person for years to come? So that's also huge as well. Just like your marriage proposal for a visa doesn't go over very well. Same thing for
No.
real estate investing. You don't just go, hey, let's partner. Well, okay, that's great, but do we agree on the big themes, like on values? You mentioned earlier renting your place for X amount. Well, some investors might say, oh, that's too much, or that's too little, or you're using it for personal use. I don't want that, or whatever it is. You need to iron all that out before you do business together. So that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I do have lots to sell, to be honest. Like pretty much anybody who I've personally have done business with, I become an affiliate for their stuff just like that, because I I genuinely believe in supporting my friends' businesses, and I want a cut of it too if I can help them
Why
bring
not?
businesses. Because yeah, I've done marketing in the past, and if I can give them free marketing and I can give them sales without them having to spend, $2,000-$3,000 on marketing, then it's a win-win for everybody. But it's not it's not how I want to start this community off, especially if I'm wanting other people to, you know, uh, hold off on that for a second. But what we are going to do though is people want deals, and I want this to be a source of some of the best, most ethical deals, most fun deals people can find. So what we'll be doing is we'll definitely be posting those turnkey properties in there. once I do know more about that. And I'd be happy to refer deals from people I already know. So, if Mike has a deal, like I know Mike, he has 30 years of experience. If he's going to push a deal, it's not going to be junk because he has a reputation he needs to protect.
That's it. Easily
But
lost.
if everybody wants to post deals, what I think we should do is like the least original idea ever, and do like a deal or no deal night where we go get Mike or one of my other friends who's an expert investor, not me, and people can come and pitch their deals to them, and that investor can buy it or give it a thumbs up for someone else to move on and being like, we analyzed the numbers, we all on this Zoom call think it looks like good, or they can roast the deal and we all can have a laugh. And I think that'd be a bit more like ethical way to do it, because I see so many Facebook groups and people just post their marketing package for their deal. It's like, yeah, like I'm sure it's all legit and stuff like that, but you're throwing it in, you're lumping it in with everything that could possibly not legit. So if you're showing up to our Zoom night where you're either gonna find an investor for your deal, or we're all gonna, maybe make fun of you like a little bit for bringing a crappy deal to I'm just kidding. But if you're showing up to present your deal in person to a group of people who are right there, you're probably not a scumbag. And if the deal isn't that good, then we honestly probably need to then help you point out like what you did wrong, why that isn't a deal, and you can learn something. So that's where like community really comes in when it's done right. And that's what I want. I want to have a solid community here. And my 5-10 year plan is not to be as active in real estate as I am these days, but I still want to lead that community. And as I go full time into music, I still want to lead that community. And if I'm not the one leading it, I at least want the community to know how to lead it without me there, if that makes sense.
No, I like that idea a lot. I was just talking to one of my private lenders and how to pitch to a private lender. So I love this analogy. He's like, let's do kind of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank with private lenders, how to pitch your deal and see how you can improve and become better at selling your deal or your idea. So this is kind of a variation on it. The people we're talking about are not selling their deal, but they're selling the idea to someone to invest into their deal. So I like that idea. And it's true, like community, you get better. Maybe the people don't realize what they're showcasing may not be a good deal or a slam dunk, but it's great to have other people's like vetting the deal and making sure it's good and healthy for everyone. So what are your plans? You mentioned Europe maybe towards the end of the year. What's next? Because you got that 6-month thing going on. Are you going back to Mexico? What's next for you, Sam?
Yeah, so really my goals this year is releasing at least one new song a month. That's utmost important. I know that's very irrelevant for this podcast.
No, that's cool. And where can we see or hear your music?
Yeah, so I'm releasing it on a platform called Audius, and it's like similar to SoundCloud or Spotify, but it operates using the Web 3.0 technology. So if you're seeing everything going on in crypto and NFTs, and you're like, what's going to happen to the music industry with all this stuff? Well, I do know there's one music festival that instead of doing tickets, they did NFTs in the first, but
wow,
Audius should be like the SoundCloud or Spotify of this Web 3.0 technology. So it does. I believe it has a potential to blow up. So I'm releasing my music on there because as an investor, I see what's going on in crypto and all the opportunity there. But I was getting involved into it, and I just wanted to make music. So I stopped doing that and realized, well, it's the best thing I could probably do, since I'm not super interested in it, is just to get in early on something.
Yeah.
If I can release my music on a platform, then maybe I'm kind of getting in early. But highly recommend everyone check out Audius. It's got like Dead Mouse backing it, and
Oh,
if it
wow.
blows, if it becomes the next Spotify, and you're holding some of that currency or invested in other ways, it could be very big.
Absolutely. Yeah, just like many things like Bitcoins, at first it looked like a joke, and then wow, it's it's impressive. My son is 18. He's kind of teaching me all about it, mining and things I don't get at all at my old age, but so this is great to get in early on the action, just like real estate investing. So I see a perfect tie-in, just like a market. You mentioned South Florida is very hot right now. It wasn't for a few years. Like just a few years back, the market was very different. Now it's like buying in Toronto. It's pretty much insane.
Yeah, you still
So
got to be
why not?
careful here, though. Like, people need to understand, like, usually when there's all these eyeballs, it's probably not the time to get in. It's probably the time to get out.
Yes.
But at the same time, we found this deal on the MLS, and I had a group of investors over here for a barbecue, all better investors than I am, and they're like, "Oh, you guys, yeah, it's
Did well.
found a good deal." And that's mostly because I did forget this one thing, is the reason why I don't like know everything about a deal and I move forward is because I get a mentor to do that for me, or somebody who knows what's doing that. So obviously, I've been working with Mike for a while. He introduced me to my now very good friend Carolyn, who is also Juliet's business partner, and she owns several different real estate companies, done projects in Mexico, all sorts of stuff. And she helped us. She took a look at it, and she said, you guys are pretty crazy, but this can work. And
I
and
love it. It's about relationships again. See, it's those relationships that help you find the right deal. And even though you might not be like a number cruncher, which I'm not either, you can ask someone who can help you and say, "Oh yeah, this is a good deal. Go for it," or "No, run."
yeah,
So that's great.
I come from the background of like hustle culture, and for me, it helped me get to a certain point. But now I find that skill set that I have always holds me back, because I try to take responsibility for everything. I do everything myself, which is good. But now I'm really just trying to find my role. And if I'm
Yeah,
not motivated or interested to do something like analyze the deal, it just doesn't feel
don't
like
force it.
I just don't want to do that.
No,
It
because
sounds so entitled, but it's like, oh, like, why do I have to be the one analyzing this deal if I don't enjoy it, when I have this friend over here who loves analyzing deals, and they can just always do a better job. And I won't ask them to write me a song on the guitar. That's my
no,
job.
but you've got the creative vision. You saw this house with the place for a stage and rental, like many other people would not have that vision. So now you find the expert who can analyze the numbers for you. Does it make business sense? But you had that vision and somebody else does the execution. And that's not entitled at all. Like any good, well working, like a business that's running well, knows its strength and its weaknesses as well. So that's very smart. And I do the same as well. All the numbers go through my wife. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear a thing about the numbers. And then, yeah, I just delegate. You get people to help you out and to grow. So this has been very insightful. Thank you very much, Sam, for sharing a bit of your story. And I'd love to catch up in the future when you're in
Yeah.
Portugal or in Europe and see what you're up to, if you're buying a castle for the olive oil and the olive trees and
Oh,
things.
that'd be so cool.
And the acoustics, I don't know if they're good in a castle or something, but anyway, it could be something there.
Yeah, that actually be super cool. I think I never even considered a castle. So if we check in a year from now and I have a castle, it's 100% because of
Yeah,
Francis.
let me know. I saw like not Portugal, but Italy, they have some rundown houses for like their mansions
Yeah.
for €1. You have to fix them, obviously. But I could see
So
you doing that and building a studio or something in a really cool spot.
I actually looked into that. So so it is a thing, by the way, for those listening.
Yeah.
But I think for most people, you don't want to buy the properties for €1.
Mm.
And the reason why is you still have to you get the property, but they have this program to incentivize people to buy houses in places where all the locals are moving out. So
Yeah, it's not a
as
desirable area.
yes, so as Italy as a lot of people started moving out of the small towns in Italy and into the cities for work, these towns started, a lot of buildings started to get left to rot, and the population is declining. So the government said, well, you know what, let's try to revamp these communities, towns, and let's do that by giving people foreigners. This is why I'm not a real estate expert. But let's give foreigners properties for $1, and they have to come. They have to invest a minimum of X amount of dollars to fix it up. But hopefully we can revive these towns and keep the history. So you can do it that way. But if it's $1, there's going to come a bill, two years
Huge.
later, or an expectation that you're going to invest X amount of capital for that property.
Yeah, I
But
read some were like €200,000 and more. So
yep. And then there's another list of properties from at the time I read, and they're not $1, but they're already that, 10 to 50K, and they don't come with that requirement. They're already in better
cool.
condition. So that'd probably be a lot better for a lot of other people
Yeah.
who, want that property, who want the deal, but maybe doesn't want to commit to a ton of work. So could be a good option. I'll definitely will be in Italy checking that out. And
Very cool.
we got eyes for seeing what's going on in Croatia,
Yes.
Portugal, and Spain. I think for me, I do want to end up in Spain. I feel like it'd be a really cool spot, but going up all and down the Mediterranean seems like it just gets me so excited every time I think of it.
Looks like a gorgeous place. The wine is awesome in
Yeah.
Spain or Portugal as well. Amazing
Or
wine.
Italy.
Do you speak the language at all? ¿Tu hablas español un poco or?
No, I tried in Mexico, but it's difficult for that to catch on.
Yeah.
I was always bad at learning French growing up. So
You need
the
immersion. If you're immersed in
yeah.
it, you end up learning it because you have no choice.
Yeah, but I was in Cancun and Playa del Carmen most of my time, so you're not really immersed.
No, it's
You're
tourists and mostly in English.
yeah, exactly.
But in Spain, they're not very bilingual, so there you wouldn't have a choice, I don't think.
Oh, really? It's just Spanish, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah, unless you go to the big cities. But if you're investing, I don't think you would want Madrid or those cities. You'd probably want the smaller, more local towns, and there you'd have no option. So
Yeah, well, I did encounter that. So when we went to Playa del Carmen, I've never been to Mexico before. Don't know how anything works. We just kind of hopped on a plane and we're like, let's go for a month. And then we ended up staying there for 5.
wow.
But we got off the airport. And I'm like, it's really busy. And I think I bought like a private taxi online, something like
Okay.
that. And there's like, it's like outdated technology. I purchased it from no like real receipt. So I just kind of showed up at the cab spot. I'm like, hey,
Who are
I
you?
bought a cab for Sam Young. And they're like, oh, yeah, just right over here. I'm like, that worked out. Because I guess. And they're like, yeah, where are you going? Because they're used to going to the hotels, but we got like a private one because we're staying in an Airbnb. And I'm like, yeah, this is the address. And he pulls it out, and our driver does not speak a lot of Spanish. He just like kind of knows yes and no, and tip. And
of course they know that
he,
word,
he,
propina.
he pulls it up on the GPS, and it the map hasn't been built yet for where our Airbnb was. So I'm like, oh God, like we got scammed or something like that. And then next thing you know, he talked to like his friend. They pulled up like a different app and they entered it, and it pulled off. So sure enough, we started heading towards Playa de Carbon. We pull up to this, gated community, and we somehow go through, and then we go through another gate, and we're at this property, and this guy who is, I found out, is our Airbnb host, is there waiting for us.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then after that, it was all just happily ever after.
Okay.
He had a case of beer waiting for me.
Very
he
nice.
had some nice, I think it's called like Mexican bread or something like that waiting for me. And it was like, right after that, I was like, that was a weird experience, because we just got to a foreign country and we just hopped in a cab and drove to a random place that we don't even know exists. And now there's just like the friendliest guy ever accommodating us. And that's when I kind of fell in love with Mexico. I was like, wow, like despite everything you hear about the problems there and stuff, people have a lot of character, charm, and genuinely want to have fun and enjoy life. And that's kind of how everything that I do nowadays has been shaped from that, because I realized, wow, I can go about life the hard, stressful, the boring way, or I can just have fun. Every day can be a party. Every day can be enjoyable. And, at the very least, like, if it all didn't work out, I could say, like, at least had fun doing it. So learned a lot from that experience.
I love it. That's great. Well, thank you so much. If our listeners want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you, Sam?
Yeah, so you guys can just reach out to me, shoot me a friend request on Facebook, and it's Samuel Young. Or you can join my Facebook group by going to our website. So our website's called www.theinternationalinvestors.com. So investors with an S. You click on that link, you'll see a photo of me and just a button to join the Facebook group. Don't have any fancy site built out, but I figured that would be the easiest way to join the community. And really 80% of everything I'm doing today and that I can see myself doing in the future will be based around that community, because I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, it's all about community and relationships. Thank you so much for spending a bit of time on Wine and Real Estate. And I can't wait, like I said earlier, to catch up with you in a year and see what you're up to. I kind of followed your journey from Canada to Mexico to Florida. So I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And anytime you want me on, I'd be more than happy to hop on here. And for everybody listening, thank you for hearing my story and some of my jokes. And, I hope there's a chance I can inspire you, but also just, spark a little joy in your day today.
Yes, that's excellent. Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay, bye now.
Bye. This episode is brought to you by my client's VA virtual office. So please reach out to Margie and her team and find out more about how a VA, a virtual assistant, can help you grow and scale your business as a real estate investor. My VA has been instrumental in helping me launch this podcast, help us grow our reach on social media, set appointments, help us stay organized. She's very helpful and always available. And they work at the same time as you do. So even though they're in the Philippines, they work in the same time zone as we do, which is wonderful. So I highly recommend. Check them out, myclientsvavirtualoffice.com. Or you can send me an email, flhomescorp@gmail.com. And I'll be glad to introduce you to Margie and her team. Thank you. Happy investing.